The Millennium Road, written by Roger G. Trow, narrated by John Delino Ziegler, Jr. Prologue. During the second decade of the 21st century, the world had been in a constant state of turmoil. Ancient enmities between the nations of the Middle East had erupted into a war which had brought the Arab League into a fresh military confrontation with Israel. Hezbollah had been armed by Syria and Iran and possessed an impressive arsenal of 60,000 missiles and other advanced weapons, and the militias were confident that they could now defeat the Israeli Defense Force. Accordingly, Hezbollah formed an alliance with the Palestinian Authority and, aided and abetted by the governments of Lebanon, Syria, and Jordan, they had launched a massive missile and ground assault upon the northern and eastern borders of Israel. They almost succeeded. But faced with an invasion by a force having overwhelming tactical and numerical superiority, Israel responded by exercising their ultimate retaliation. It is known as the Samson option. Soon, Israeli rockets carrying payloads of nuclear, chemical, and biological weapons rained down upon the cities of Damascus, Beirut, Gebal, Tyre, Gaza, the Bekaa Valley, and Amman, and the mass ground forces of the Hezbollah brigades and the Syrian army which had invaded through the Golan Heights. Damascus was totally destroyed by the nuclear bombs which fell upon it and would never be habitable again, in fulfillment of the ancient prophecies recorded in the books of Isaiah and Jeremiah. Isaiah 17, 1-3, NLT. The oracle concerning Damascus. Behold, Damascus is about to be removed from being a city and will become a fallen ruin. The cities of Aurora are forsaken. They will be for flocks to lie down in, and there will be no one to frighten them. The fortified city will disappear from Ephraim, and sovereignty from Damascus. Look, Damascus will disappear. It will become a heap of ruins. The cities of Aurora will be deserted. Sheep will graze in the streets and lie down unafraid. There will be no one to chase them away. The fortified cities of Israel will also be destroyed, and the power of Damascus will end. The few left in Aram will share the fate of Israel's departed glory, says the Lord Almighty. Jeremiah 49, 23-27, NLT. Concerning Damascus, Hamath and Arpad are put to shame, for they have heard bad news. They are disheartened. There is anxiety by the sea. It cannot be calmed. Damascus has become helpless. She has turned away to flee, and panic has gripped her. Distress and pangs have taken hold of her like a woman in childbirth. How the city of praise has not been deserted, the town of my joy. Therefore her young men will fall in her streets, and all the men of war will be silenced in that day, declares the Lord of hosts. I will set fire to the wall of Damascus, and it will devour the fortified towers of Ben-Hadad. The governments of Syria, Lebanon, Gaza, and Jordan were no more, and all Palestinian opposition had been permanently silenced. Israel, too, had suffered enormous casualties in the missile and artillery bombardments, and when the dust had settled, the cost of the conflict was millions of deaths and almost economic ruin for Israel and total ruin for the Arabian alliance. The cities of Israel had lain in ruins, but because of Israel's immense wealth, which was obtained from the sale of their oil and gas, they were able to finance the reconstruction themselves, and after only a few years, a transformation had occurred. The brief war also left a power vacuum in the Middle East, with no immediate challenger to the dominance of Israel. Accordingly, Israel annexed Lebanon, much of Jordan, and the southern part of Syria, with the Euphrates becoming its new northern boundary. Israel had become the new superpower of the Middle East, in the midst of an unprecedented storm of international condemnation. Our story begins shortly after this, and records the events following a cataclysmic event through the eyes of a young Jewish engineer. This cataclysm was to be quite literally a world-shaking event. A planet-killer asteroid passes very close to the Earth, and several large fragments plunge to the surface. The series of impacts cause enormous tsunamis, followed by seismic events around the world, particularly around the Pacific Ring of Fire and simultaneously in the mid-Atlantic. It also triggers a global earthquake which is greater than any previously recorded. The twin forces of the great earthquake and the tsunamis result in the total destruction
Sample complete. Ready to continue?